I'm Jared Bowen. Tonight on Greater Boston, 3 local middle schoolers advocate for gun reform and safety in schools in a short film recognized by C-SPAN's StudentCam contest. The 3 young filmmakers join me. Plus, how the new Bedford Symphony Orchestra is trying to reach classical music fans of all ages and backgrounds. Over the past several decades, gun violence has become a common occurrence in America's schools. Just this year alone, there have been shootings in or around at least 19 schools in this country, leaving 19 people dead, including 7 children. After the attacks, we hear a lot from parents, lawmakers, and other adults. But a local group of middle schoolers is putting the spotlight on the people most affected by these shootings, the students themselves.
No student should be afraid to go to school. No child should be murdered. In America, we need to do something. If we were newly elected members of Congress, we would create stronger gun legislation so that one day no child is killed by gun violence. Not me. Never again.
The film, called Not Me, Children Caught in the Crossfire, was made for C-SPAN's annual student documentary competition, StudentCam. And the 3 student filmmakers behind it took home 3rd place in a national competition. Those students join me now. They are Felica Curtis, Ellie, Epstein, and Coco, Shen, who are all 8th graders at Neshoba Brook School in Concord. Thank you all, and congratulations on your win. This is such a big deal.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, Felica, I'll start with you. Just give me a sense of what the competition was and what your mandate was for making a film.
So basically, every year, C-SPAN does a StudentCam contest where they're given a prompt. This year's prompt was, if you were a newly elected member of Congress, what would you change and why? And so each year at Neshoba, 8th grade spends the winter term in their social studies class creating a 6-minute documentary and uploading it onto C-SPAN. So yeah, that's what we did.
And how did you arrive, Ellie, at this notion of looking at gun violence in this country and issues of gun control?
This is like a very bad issue in America, and the thing is, it affects many, many children, and yet children are not allowed to vote. Children can't vote to pass laws, so it's a really big problem that children in schools are the ones that are being very badly affected. And it is important for us to make these documentaries and these videos to spread more public awareness about this.
Well, Coco, walk me through how you did this, how you collaborated, and how you decided what the arc of this film would be.
Well, so we had, during our researching process, we split up our roles. So, Felica, she was, finding clips, and I was researching, and Ellie was doing the editing. And we sort of, planned it out as we went, because the more we researched, the more we got, an idea of, what our film, the arc of the film was going to be.
And was there a message that you wanted to leave audiences with? Was it your story that you were telling people?
No, I think Felica had a story about her experience, but we just wanted to spread awareness about what we can do to help this.
So, Felica, what was your experience that you wanted to bring?
When I was 11 years old in my town, I went to a small private Catholic school, and a couple houses over there was a armed robbery that resulted in a shooting. And because I went to a small school, we had no forms of ALICE training.
What is that?
ALICE drills are a type of drill, like a fire drill, that students do, and they're mandated all over the U.S. so students can be safe for a school shooter coming in if that were to happen. And since we did not have any of that, our school was told to put into shelter in place and a lockdown, and we were all in the back of the classroom crying, hoping that the gunshots we heard outside wouldn't come inside our building.
And how old were you when that happened?
I was 11.
Ellie, what is it like to be in school? Do you think about the potential of school shootings constantly? I think it feels like every night we're turning on the news and we're seeing it in some capacities, not always in schools, but often enough in schools. So how top of mind is it for you?
It's honestly, sometimes they'll tell us when there will be an ALICE drill, and I just can't stop thinking about it because it almost feels like it's real. And I never want to leave my classroom because I always think, what if that were to happen? Or like, what if even like a real shooting were to happen while I wasn't in the classroom? And what if we just didn't know what to do? So for a while we were researching this, it was at the top of my mind a lot, and I couldn't stop thinking about like, what if that were to happen to us?
What are those drills like?
They did change the protocol this year. If there's like a whistle, someone is basically whistling, which would be the gunshots, like if this were to actually happen. And if we can hear the whistle, we're to stay in our classroom and like barricade the doors. If we can't hear the whistle, we're supposed to be going outside, running away. And the teachers always tell us before in like Alice drill, this is what you're gonna do. And if this is like a real thing, this is what you would do. Like you would run across the street, across the parking lot. It always makes me very nervous as well to hear about this. Like they say, if this were to actually happen, and I remember this can actually happen.
Coco, as you were walking us through how the film is made and who you're depicting, we see a lot of government officials here. How did you choose who you were going to feature and what they were saying?
We were researching, and a lot of the websites we used while we were researching were organizations. So we contacted the people from those organizations and just saw if they were willing to like answer a few questions for us. We also like looked on the news and saw like a lot of legislators that were talking about this, and we just sent an email out to them and asked them if they were willing to talk.
Yeah, Ellie, I was struck by something you said, that partly you made this film because you're talking about yourselves and you can't vote. You don't have a say in government at this age. What would you like to see government do?
There's many things that, many regulations that could be passed to prevent these like shootings that aren't being passed, such as background checks. There's been like a lot of talk about background checks, yet sometimes background checks fail, and it's important that we have like better background checks. Also, we're not advocating for like banning all guns, but it's important that we take these like regulations, we take these ideas, like background checks, safe storage. Many children, there are accidental shootings. Children can find guns that aren't locked up safely, and they could accidentally shoot themselves. And also banning things like assault weapons. Assault weapons are very dangerous, and there's no minimum age to buy an assault weapon, yet you have to be 18 to buy a handgun.
Felicia, what do you think this is born of when we see students bringing guns to school and these horrible shootings?
Well, it oftentimes goes back to the mental health crisis this country's having, and not having safe storage and having the access to being able to access a gun at home. It's very easy for someone who's not in the right mindset to harm themselves or others. And with the internet growing and society as a whole, especially after the pandemic, people have been a lot more sheltered and isolated, and it's been hard to find help for your mental health. So having safe storage so that if you own a gun, that someone doesn't get it into the wrong hands would be very helpful, especially because since you can only buy a handgun at 18, but you can be, at least in Massachusetts, 15 to buy a gun. That means someone of my age, I can't drive, I can't vote, I can't legally make my own decisions, but I can go buy an assault rifle that can kill hundreds of people in a matter of minutes.
You're rattling off all of this information but you've it's not a pejorative that I'm saying this. You have this information at the ready. Why have you committed to this in this way?
It's an important topic, and a lot of it's not talked about as much unless there is a shooting. There's often a shooting, and it's talked about for a month at most, and then it kind of dies down because it's kind of become normal in our country. But this is our reality as students. We go to school every single day, and in the back of our minds thinking, we could die in a place where we're supposed to grow and learn. And doing this documentary has definitely opened our eyes to like, wow, this is a really big problem, and we are the ones affected by the problem, and we can't do anything about it.
Do you think it's going to change by the time you come of age to vote?
Sadly, I don't think so. I'm come of age to vote in 3 years, and I haven't seen, there's been little to any change since the shooting in Columbine in 1999, and the fact that it took 20 years for them to even sign a bipartisan law into a agreement is absurd. It shouldn't take that long for children's safety.
What about you, Coco? What's your optimism that things will change?
Well, I definitely hope that things will be able to change by the time we are able to vote. But even if it isn't, then we will definitely advocate for more safety for children in schools.
Ellie, I want to go back to the notion of social media and where people are living online before some of these shootings. How much of a driver is that? Because I think I'm part of a generation that doesn't necessarily understand this. We didn't grow up with this. We didn't live in this world, and it is a whole world. It's a full space. Same for a lot of the politicians who are not making these decisions, not moving things forward. So what is that world like in terms of gun violence?
So many things are posted on like social media. A lot of people will say things like stop gun violence on social media, but the thing is that social media sometimes just doesn't make a huge, like it doesn't really spread awareness as well. But for many people, it can like, social media is a way to speak their mind, and so that's like what's happening a lot right now. But it's like social media is also having a really large impact on like teenagers like around the world, and it can definitely like change how they see things. Like anything can be posted on social media, so it's really, social media can actually change a lot, which can be a good thing, but I guess could also be a bad thing.
Well, finally, just quickly, Felicia, is this a prompt? Where do you go next now that you're award-winning documentary filmmakers?
I don't know. Go off to high school, I guess. But of course, like Coco said, we're going to continue to advocate for this because it's something very important. But we just hope that because we can't vote and because we're sheltered and we can't speak our minds, this is a way for us to do it. So we hope that this documentary can spread to the world and maybe some politician sees it and says this is a real problem that we need to fix.
Well, Felica Curtis, Ellie Epstein, Coco Shen, thank you, and again, congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
To watch their full film and to learn more about the C-SPAN contest, head to StudentCam.org. Next up, the New Bedford Symphony Orchestra has redefined what a musical institution can and should be by working to expand access to classical music to audiences from all backgrounds, taking their music beyond the concert hall with performances at breweries, libraries, churches, parks, schools, and community festivals. The institution has also developed a new composer diversity database to help teachers expose their students to a broader variety of composers and music. Joining me to discuss those efforts and the orchestra's upcoming season finale are the New Bedford Symphony Orchestra President and CEO David Prentiss and Director of Education Terry Wolkowicz. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Glad to be here.
Well, David, let me start with you and redefining what an orchestra could be. I think we all have a conception. It has to be big, and it has to be in a concert hall, and we have to know the music. Is that what an orchestra is?
For a long time it has been, but that doesn't mean it has to be that way forever. And as you, I'm sure, know, lots of orchestras around the country are questioning, what the future is for classical music and for symphonies. And we're trying to find new ways to connect with people, to bring this great music to new audiences. And so at the New Bedford Symphony, we've taken this very seriously for many years and have really made it a primary focus of what we do. And so we've introduced many new programs, new ways of doing concerts, new types of concerts, and we see, over time, we start to figure out what works and what people will respond to.
Well, Terry, let me bring you in, especially from the educational component. I know from years of covering the arts that people get very intimidated by big forums like classical music. And how do we make it so that everybody understands this is for you and there isn't any particular way you're supposed to hear it or experience it?
I think that our focus has always been on making connections between the music and everybody's everyday lives. And I think that's the key, is seeing that music is such a big part of our environment, It's such a big part of children's lives and their learning. And by showing them those connections, they realize that they already know so much about the music. So I think that's been a key component both for the orchestra and essentially through a thread running through all of our education programs.
In what ways do you find they already know the music?
Well, by making connections to things that they already experience within their world. For example, understanding in a program that we did years ago that animals move, and as they move, their limbs strike the ground in different gaits, and those gaits have rhythmic features to them. And those same gaits, those rhythmic features in the gaits, are found all throughout our music. So by making a connection that you could be walking outside or looking out in your backyard and you see some tracks on the ground, and you look down at those tracks, and the rhythm that was created in that environment is also just all throughout classical music. So understanding that these are very intuitive, and they're very much connected to things that we experience every day.
Well, David, on that notion of looking at things and understanding them perhaps a little bit more unconventionally, what happens when you begin to bring the musicians out of the concert hall? And as I mentioned in the intro, libraries,
right.
Breweries, really fun places.
Right. The musicians love it. And the people that show up, audiences, new people, they really love it too. We do a concert called Symphony on Tap in an old mill building, a 65-member orchestra, but we don't have any seats. We just create a club atmosphere, high-top tables, bar, food, and the audience can just stand completely around the orchestra, and so they're literally 5 to 10 feet from the musicians, and the audience loves it, and the musicians love it too, because they might talk a little bit in between the pieces. It's very informal, and the connection that they have and the type of questions they might get or the comments that they get directly from the audience. They love it. I mean, they work so hard and have put so much passion into their craft of being musicians. To have that immediate type of connection with the audience is something they really love. Well,
where did you start to get the confidence to take the orchestra out of its main environment?
Yeah, confidence might be an overstatement, right? We knew we had to try new things. And so, of course, you kick around ideas, you look at what other orchestras are doing, and you say, what might work in our community, and what would be the way that we would do it as the New Bedford Symphony Orchestra. And New Bedford is famous for its old mill buildings. The one that we have looks out over Buzzards Bay. It's a beautiful view. And we said, this one might work. And so you take a calculated risk, right? Because there's a financial commitment to put on a full orchestra concert. And we price it in a very inviting way, because we're trying to attract younger and new people. And so, you have to kind of get the economics of it right, but it's worth it because you then build a new audience and you connect people to this great music. Over time, it can really pay off.
Well, speaking of connecting, Terry, we've spoken in the past about this, and I'm really struck by the access that you find, especially when you go into schools, and connecting disciplines to music that you wouldn't think, as you were just talking about zoology with music. And how do you find that in math and science? Well, math, I think we can understand. It's all about rhythm, which I didn't necessarily have when I was in band a long time ago. But how do you find those connections that we might otherwise not see?
I think that the idea is finding those authentic connections, because that really allows music and the arts to find common ground with other subject areas. There have been experiences in arts integration where music or art is not really on a level playing field, that they might be used to help support the learning in an academic subject, singing songs about the dinosaurs. I mean, it adds fun and engagement and helps with memorization. But I think when we approach a shared concept, we try to find a concept that is authentic and rich and relevant in music, and then looking across other disciplines, find another area that also has that same relevancy, authenticity of that concept. Because then when you explore it cross-discipline, it breaks down this artificial divides between disciplines. We grew up going to school where we went from class to class, or reading and math and science, but that's not how the world works. That's not how knowledge works.
It's not how our brains work.
And exactly, except as adults, maybe we get a little too modular, but finding those authentic connections, because then when you are exploring a concept that is shared across disciplines through music and these other subject areas, students get a deeper, more flexible understanding than they would have by just studying it in one subject alone, whether that was just music or just the other academic subjects. And so the idea is that if you find the concept, to make sure that it is relevant and authentic in each domain equally. And that's when you start to get the force multiplier.
How young do you have to get them hooked into music?
Oh, I'm working with, just now started working with pre-K this year, which has been incredibly exciting. And again, looking for those connections between music and another subject area. So we have a pre-K music and literacy program now where our connection is between the rhythmic sounds of words and rhythmic sounds in music. And by focusing on speaking and drumming and linking those two, we can have students understand the stress patterns of words with different syllable counts, and then having them drumming and speaking at the same time. It's been incredibly fun for me to work with these really, really little ones. But again, it's a way that we first start to introduce them to our organization and to our music, and then to continue that through our other programs, whether it's during the school day or after school or even on weekend events.
And what I've always loved about that too is seeing how they bring it home, and their parents who maybe didn't have that exposure that young suddenly are learning from their kids, and then they're all families going to your building concerts. Yeah. Tell me about, David, the Composer Diversity Database and what that's allowing people to do and understand.
Right, so that's a project that we're developing. Terry's working on it with a music composer. And one of the things we realized in talking to music teachers is that when they need to use examples of music to illustrate different aspects of music, this is in a general music class, say for elementary school kids, you of course, you could say get the usual suspects, right? The great composers of the past like Beethoven, Mozart, Haydn, that's what they were taught in school. And so those are the examples that they would have easy access to go to. And of course teachers have a lot of pressure on them time-wise, and so they would naturally gravitate towards the things they know already. And Terry came up with this idea of saying, well, wonder if we did the work for them. Wonder if we did the research, looking for composers that are underrepresented historically, that of course have great music and have the examples embedded in the music that these teachers need, and we create a keyword database. So you look at the particular part of music that you want to teach, whether you want it to be an orchestra or a solo instrument, and by putting in the keywords, you'll then get a whole range of options of these composers.
Well, let me bring you in. How surprised would people be to know that there are people beyond Mozart and Beethoven and Wagner?
There are a few.
Music teachers, they really do want to try and include music that is of more diverse representation and maybe reflect the diversity of their own students. And you would say, okay, why don't we just set aside a time during my lesson where I might play this music that my students might not be familiar with. But then it kind of has this separate place from maybe what you were teaching during the lesson. So there's really not a way for them to take a concept like maybe they're teaching binary form, or maybe they're teaching the concept of an ostinato or a canon, and then to be able to search based on what their lesson topic is going to be to find composers who are the best examples for those concepts they're about to teach. So the reason I don't think anybody has done this is there's no shortcut. Like you just can't, like you have to listen to every piece. We have a series of 84 keywords that represent what music teachers teach their students. And so we listen to the piece of music and we say, what are the headlines? I mean, obviously there are many musical elements that'll be present in a piece of music, but if I had to pick like the 5 top headlines, that this is the best example if you want to teach your students about a specific musical theory or compositional concept. And it's extremely time consuming, but I think what it's going to allow teachers to do is to seamlessly integrate a more diverse representation of repertoire into their lessons, their actual lessons. And then I think for the teachers too, when at school we just didn't learn about a lot of these composers. We had Mozart, Beethoven, Tchaikovsky, but now we're going to have this resource for teachers that will be free and available.
And shared, yeah, which is wonderful. What's coming up? You have a big concert coming up, the big season finale. Unity and Peace is the theme?
Yeah, it's this Saturday night at the Zeiterion Performing Arts Center in New Bedford. We're performing 3 pieces, Valerie Coleman's Anthem of Unity, Umaja, and Beethoven's great piano concerto number 5, The Emperor, with pianist Alexander Kosatia, who's performed with us in the past. He played Shostakovich with us during the pandemic, surrounded by fiberglass and the orchestra, and it was incredible. So we've invited him back to play the great piece by Beethoven, and then Shostakovich's Symphony number 10, which is of course a pretty intense and ultimately triumphant piece of music. So they all talk about overcoming adversity and unifying in triumph.
Speaking of which, just for the few seconds I have left, I know the Zeiterion is about to have a very exciting makeover.
That's right.
So that's a time for experimentation while you can't perform in the Zeiterion Theater for the next 9 months to a year?
Right, exactly. The $31 million renovation is going to be incredible for that facility and for the whole community, for us. And so we're going to be out in the community for a year. And it does give us new opportunities to try some different things, and so we're excited about it, and then we'll be very excited to get back to a brand new renovated facility.
Well, thank you for changing the notion of what, things that we have just come to expect as same old, same old. Congratulations on the work you're both doing.
Thank you so much.
Again, the orchestra's season finale is this Saturday, May 20th at 7:30 at the Zeiterion Performing Arts Center in New Bedford. For more information on the show and the organization's educational work, head to nbsymphony.org. Well, that's it for tonight. We'll be back tomorrow. Thanks for watching. I'm Jared Bowen. Good night.